you're a European American male. In America, people are very closed-minded. So most of the time, I give my business card to somebody who's like American, European American. They might say something along the lines of, "Can you cut my texture of hair?" You didn't do that. You were open-minded enough to like, "Oh, well, go figure. I'm going to try them out and see where it goes." And here and now, I really do consider you to be a brother from another mother. Like, seriously,
Hell yeah.
You're my guy.
Hell yeah.
And it just so happens that like you get dope haircuts, and I get soul nourishing conversations when you come to the barbershop. So it's a win-win.
That. It's a win-win for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I moved to a new area and I needed a barber, and I sat down next to it at a bar, and I got your business card, and I didn't even think twice about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been the best because I think the first cut you were getting that a slick back.
Yeah, it was a little different than this. I was doing like I think that movie Lawless had just come out.
Right.
And that they had that like old school gangster look with the I was like, that might be cool. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back to that. Maybe that's back in now. It's been like 11 years.
You know what it was? I think in this process, we learned that your hair doesn't naturally go slick back like that. That was the only thing. It kind of.
Oh yeah, because I got a weird the cowlick back here, right?
Yeah, it didn't really necessarily conform all the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because I am so happy. I don't even know how the conversation of jiu-jitsu came up in the barbershop. But I remember when I was asking you about that, do you remember anything from jiu-jitsu?
I think you were just talking smack, and I was like, keep like watch your mouth because I'll beat you up. I'm trained.
Man, it's crazy because you competed.
Yeah.
So when I brought it up, when I asked you, remember anything, you said, I competed, you would have to throw a punch to activate it.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you compete in jiu-jitsu, it's just jiu-jitsu, so it's not like full MMA, so there's no stand-up component. You do start standing though, so then it's almost kind of like judo at that point, where you gotta get somebody to the ground. So, so a lot of judo throws and jiu-jitsu maneuvers to get people to the ground, can definitely start when the other person's throwing a punch, and the way you can position yourself to defend that. So I think I was showing you one where if you put your hand forward, whether it was a punch or you're trying to grab me or whatever, I pretty much just grabbed your wrist, turned it, pulled you in, got my leg around you, wrapped up, and to the ground. That was always my favorite one.
That's real quick. That was your perspective of what happened. Let's go through my perspective of what happened, because you scared the living shit out of me with that moment. First of all, I was one of those people who ignorantly thought if you were physically fit, you could fight. And that was the funniest part about it, because I wasn't. I didn't have to learn that lesson the hard way because I'm around a safe space and talking about that. So then when you said throw a punch, and the first thing I said, fuck no, I don't want to throw a punch. Now I'm scared. So when I threw a punch, not only did you grab my punching arm and yank my punching arm forward, I think you put a foot behind my lead foot, and then the other arm of yours turned into a sickle. And if you would have followed through, I would have been concussed before even using jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah,
I would have been concussed right from the rip. That was where that was headed.
I mean, the goal of jiu-jitsu was got to take down where you start in an advantageous situation. If I had gone through with that, your back would have been on the floor, and you've been in some trouble for sure.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Again, in the spirit of being open-minded, I remember I was telling that story. This is a safe space. I was telling that same story to my homie Tariq, and Tariq does karate, all types of martial arts. He was like, yo, do Muay Thai. Yeah. Because if it wasn't for that moment, that exposed a weakness. I was like, damn, I'm physically fit, but I can't protect my family if I needed to. Oh, yeah. I mean, people that are trained to fight, know how to fight, it's a huge advantage. I mean, I used to laugh my ass off because I got into jiu-jitsu early on. Like, the UFC wasn't even big yet. Like, I'm not even sure like Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz were in the game yet when I got into it. I'm 42 now. I was boxing at like 21, 22.
And I was like coming to work with black eyes and stuff. Looked like I was part of Fight Club. So my buddy Benny was into jiu-jitsu, and I had never even heard of it. And he was like, "Well, try this. You know, it's a great martial art. It's a great workout. You won't get your head rattled quite as much." So that's kind of what got me into jiu-jitsu. And then the more I learned about it, the more I was like, "Wow, this is legit." And then you start learning about MMA and the Gracies and how it was mixed martial arts, and then pretty much the jiu-jitsu guys were coming in and winning everything because they knew how to get people to the ground and submit them. And that ended up being kind of the dominant martial art. So, that kind of got me hooked on it. But I used to laugh because, the UFC started getting real big, like kind of right after I started doing it. And like I think the rise of like Chuck Liddell was happening and stuff. So you get these big meathead dudes, like, that dude you'd see at your college gym or your local gym who's like only doing curls and bench presses. So he's got skinny little chicken legs, but big biceps, big chest. And he's coming in, he's like surveying the room, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the biggest guy here. I'm going to beat everybody up." And you'd like see it,
right?
That bravado walk in.
Yep.
And then you'd see a scared little boy walk out.
Wow.
Once he got tied into pretzels by half the room.
Right.
And he realized he was defenseless and didn't know anything. And people half the size of him were just absolutely tying him up and submitting him. So,
yeah.
Going into a fight like that completely unprepared versus somebody who's prepared. And if you throw a punch, they know 19 ways to counter it.
Right.
If you try to kick them, they know 35 ways to counter it that are going to hurt you and put you in a bad situation, So that's part of what martial arts is, man. It's not just all how you attack. It's how you defend and use the other person's flow and momentum against them. So, yeah,
you know
man.
what? I found that on this journey, the martial arts side of things, I found my martial arts is grounded in my spirituality.
Yeah.
It's grounded in that. I've been learning, too, one of the biggest ways that kept me safe the whole way through was just being kind to other folks. I turned some of the most feared guys in the MMA gym into like the best teachers for me. By this being kind, being open-minded, not going into the MMA gym trying to dominate, but just taking it day by day and learning the process. And I think that was rewarding because I think when you go in those environments with a dominant or dominating perspective, you're not going to learn anything. Or it might be, some people will. I don't know. I just know for me, it didn't seem like it was beneficial to be that way.
No, 100%. I mean, what's that old expression? Like pride comes before the fall or something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's just, it's kind of like ignorance walking in and just being like, "Oh, I'm the biggest guy in the room. I'm going to be the toughest guy in the room. There's nothing these people are going to teach me. I'm just going to beat everybody up here." Like, yeah, that's just coming from the wrong mental place. You know what I mean? You got to come from a humble place with respect and a willingness to learn if you want to improve yourself. So
that's a fact. And it's interesting because I remember when I was going to Planet Fitness, I had canceled my membership. I invested in my home gym. And when I go to work out, I don't have any earphones in my head. I really pretty much just focus for the most part. And usually I go at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's no one really around. But later on, I started going and it was a little bit more crowded. And I would hear guys talk. And a lot of guys would talk about how they were about to beat somebody up or things they would have did to beat somebody up or what this person almost did to get beat up. And I'm sitting there the whole time because I just operate from a place of like, I don't know what you know, therefore I don't even want to go there with you because who wants to do that? Who wants to go into a street fight with somebody? But I find though, when you have a lot of, I think, unhealed masculinity in these spaces, there's a lot of ego that you can get humbled the hard way if you aren't careful.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You find that too? Like,
oh, yeah, 100%. I think that's a lot of what it is. I mean, I think especially with like younger men, there's a lot of I think a lot of it's insecurity, masquerading as bravado.
Yep.
They don't really know their place in the world yet, you know. Maybe not yet, maybe not at all.
Yeah.
And they're just like insecurity kind of can manifest as fake toughness.
Yeah.
And I say young men, but I mean, Jesus, that's
tell me about it.
Half our politicians right now, right? So
man, I just say You know,
Pete Hegseth, the Department of War. Like, I mean, I think I just perfectly described that guy.
But I think, you know, I read The Art of War, and how people posture nowadays goes against everything The Art of War represents. The first thing you want to do is to avoid it at all costs, and I would think that relates to like martial arts or anything. So that means diplomacy.
100%.
But I think you're onto something. I think a lot of times, most people, I believe, suffer from either inferiority complex or superiority complex. But either way, it's going to be grounded in some form of insecurity. Yeah. And I think the best way to lean into those insecurities is martial arts. Yeah. Or some form of combat athletics.
Hey, man. Being there, actually doing it. We got guys like Trump and Hegseth running the show now, and I don't think either one actually served or competed or did anything like that, right? I mean,
I would say, I would go further. I would say most of the folks, I think, in the upper billionaire class have never been punched in the face. Because I think if you ever been punched in the face, then you kind of move different. You know what I'm saying?
Never had that direct humbling experience.
Right.
Yeah, you always had that cushion of comfort bubble around you that, you can't punch me. Do you know who my daddy is? Like that.
Right. But that's it. I think a lot of folks with these inferiority complexes, because they're afraid of people recognizing the truth that they're mediocre. Yeah. And they'll hide behind using other people to fight their battles.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing about you never being punched in the face before that can, like, not you, but people not being punched in the face.
Well, I've been punched before.
Yeah, me too. I actually learned through martial arts, I don't mind being punched in the face. Yeah. And I think that's the scariest thing about me, because if I get punched in the face, I'm going to be calm.
When I used to box, I used to say, I can't even, like, something about me, man, like, I don't know what it is about me, but like I couldn't get myself into like the mode to be ready to be in a boxing match until I got punched in the face.
Wow, how about that?
I don't know what it is about my trait. Like I almost need to get attacked first until I'm like, oh, what? Like I go into it sleepy, like, what are we doing here? Why are we fighting? And then somebody punches me in the face and I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. It's like, and then I'm like up and away, you know what I mean?
But I think I haven't competed. Yeah. I've only sparred hard with some folks and sparred hard with like great folks. But I will say, I think when it comes to that, I think fighting is another language. Mm-hmm. So sometimes being hit makes you understand that we're speaking the same language. Yeah. Right? Because that's the game. Mm-hmm. That's the game, is being hit. But I never did jujitsu. That's a whole different game. It seems like there's human knots.
I mean, it's not a whole different game. I mean, it's still competing. It's still fighting. It's still trying to win and persevere. You know what I mean? So it's not ultimately different than boxing. It's just different. I mean, in boxing, you're kind of being defensive, then you're attacking. You're being defensive, and you're attacking. Right. And the ultimate goal is to win the fight, knock somebody out, knock them to the ground. I mean, jiu-jitsu is the same thing. I mean, when you're on the ground game, you're strategically defending positions and then figuring out where you can attack. Right. Trying to move from advantageous position to advantageous position. There's little battles that happen within a jiu-jitsu match. Yeah. It's not always that big knockout punch or that big rear naked choke that happens out of nowhere. It's a lot of times it's a little battles that develop, like, oh, you were able to get your right hook in on this leg, and then now you're in a more advantageous spot. So it's like, what can I work towards next? And then it's like, oh, now I got this guy's arm. All of a sudden I moved into side control. Now I moved into full mount. You know, it's like, and you kind of like move up these positions. So it's still strategy and kind of like game within a game. You know what I mean? So
that's beautiful, because I think
not completely different.
That's still beautiful. That goes into the mindset when I went into the North Star, which was essentially piece by piece, bro. You're not going for the gusto. You're inching your way to something, mm-hmm. Right? I guess if the opportunity presents itself and you take advantage of it, obviously, but the idea is to just be present. Yeah. Would you say that is true with what you just described it as? If you're 100%. Little incremental, you just being present. You got to be present.
You know, you have to be present and know exactly where you are in the match, and what advantages they have over you, what disadvantage you have, what position you have. From the position you're in now, what are your options? What are your moves? What do you like to go to? Yeah, so if you're not present in the exact space in the match, if you're thinking 6 moves ahead and you're not really, there yet, and you skip a couple steps to get to that position comfortably. I got a great example of that from one of my jiu-jitsu matches, actually. Yeah. A humbling moment for me was I started jiu-jitsu. I did my first competition as a white belt. Yeah. Right? And I was in really good shape. And I'd always worked out, and I was in good shape, and I had trained for a couple months. I did a white belt tournament, and I blew through my first couple matches. Just like first couple people that I think I was just a better athlete. You know what I mean? And then I got in a match at one point. I ended up losing and got my elbow hyperextended. It was the last match of the day. I think I was competing, for gold, which was like, it was a white belt tournament, so it's nothing crazy, right? Just like 16 people that showed up that day to compete with a white belt in my weight class. But I tried to get a choke in, a guillotine choke. So if you watch MMA or UFC, you probably are familiar with a guillotine choke. So you basically got a guy's head through under your arm, and you're cutting off the neck and choking the neck out by moving your elbow inward to your body. However, I guess what most people don't realize is that a guillotine choke happens from your legs even more than your arms. Mm-hmm. You kind of got to have your hooks in around the guy's legs, and that's how you get that center to get that torque to be able to move your elbow in and make that choke. If you don't have your hooks in all the way, you might be kind of dangling and wrestling with it. And I made that mistake where I just thought I was bigger and tougher than this dude, and I had his head in between my arm, and I decided I was going to choke this guy out. And I was ahead on points because I had been in superior position the whole match. And I think there was 2 minutes in the match left, and I had my right hook around his one leg, and I had his head right here, and I'm trying to squeeze that choke out, and I'm just not getting it. He's not tapping. And he was fighting my left foot really well. I couldn't get this foot over him to get that other hook in. Mm-hmm. But I was just whatever, man, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to choke this kid out. And I ended up trying so hard to do it without the proper hooks in that my arm gassed.
Damn.
My arm went limp. And this dude was advantageous and felt it immediately. And he swiveled around and popped my elbow in an arm bar. And just swiveled around, felt my arm go limp on him, released himself. I'm kind of in shock because I felt that happen.
Damn.
And then he swiveled around, arm barred me, and just popped my elbow. I didn't even tap. The ref just stopped it because he heard my elbow go boop.
Damn.
So I guess that was a long story, but the point was that, if you're not present and you don't know exactly where you are in the match and what you need to accomplish to get what you want to do done, and you're skipping steps, and it can definitely lead to downfall. So
it's not being humble too, I imagine, because you were blowing, like you're saying, you were blowing through, but not being present.
100%.
But staying time.
Ignorance. I didn't know what I didn't know at that time. I was just
hindsight's always 20/20.
I'm bigger than this. I'm tougher than this guy. I'm gonna choke him out.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a humbling lesson. Yeah. You say you're getting punched in the face, but that was a kind of another version of getting punched in the face if you think about it.
You know what though? What I've come to learn, even though I've never competed, what I learned about combat athletics is that you are in a team. Mm-hmm. It's not just, yes, you were the only person when they actually go and compete. There's only 2 people in the ring.
100%.
There's a whole group of people who pour into you to get to that point.
Yeah.
What I've learned is that, again, this is a spirit of being open-minded. People who actually get into the ring, I have a whole different perspective looking at fighters. My whole thing is, if you had the courage to already get in the ring, that makes you a winner from the jump. And I get it. The average person watching it won't see it that way because most of them have never even attempted to do combat athletics. But there seems to be a high level of respect that fighters give each other, even when they dominate each other.
Oh, 100%, man. There's a lot of respect. I was kind of laughing because I think for the most part what you said is true, but it could be courage, it could be stupidity too. Sometimes there's a fine line between being courage and being stupid. But I think for the most part, people that are doing it with the right intentions, it's courage. You know what I mean? But
Give me an example of somebody being stupid and doing it. Because that's not being open-minded. That's just you.
That's kind of that dude I was telling you about that just watched his first UFC and Chuck Liddell beat somebody up and think he's going to walk in a room and beat somebody up, and that guy decides he's going to enter a local fight or a local boxing match before ever really training or having a real support network or teaching. And he's just like, I'm going to, like, so you kind of, you know. But I think that's not, you know, I think more often than that, it's a place of courage, but for sure.
But you know what, though? I wish most people tried combat athletics because I think it humbles you, like, in the sense that when you aren't insecure, you feel free. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't be able to present how I present on social media the way I do, or feel comfortable with crying in front of my children when the times that I have, if I wasn't, I'm secure, right? And I think that came about from me leaning into my fears of fighting.
Yeah.
But and think about it, a place where people get punched in the face and I enjoy getting punched and enjoy punching people and kicking people, that was one of my safe spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that builds self-confidence. And to your point that you were touching on earlier, like, you know, when you join a jiu-jitsu gym or, you know, or Muay Thai, you know, whatever, like, you know, there's usually in these types of places, there's a lot of community built between the people you train with and a lot of respect that's built between people you roll with or spar with. And there's a lot of, I think, security that's built up from those teams you're on and the communities you kind of forge in there.
Right.
And then I mean, when you go watch a boxing match or UFC match, that guy's not there alone. He's got a team on the side coaching him on, you know, taking care of him in between rounds, healing wounds, hydrating them, giving them coaching points. You know, it's an individual fighting sport, but you're all coming from a community and a team as well.
And that's, I think, the best part about it is like what fighters say or what your teammates say to you holds tremendous impact on people. Mm-hmm. Like, there's definitely power in words. I think when you recognize that, I think I recognized that more when I was in combat athletics. Mm-hmm. I recognize that obviously I'm a podcaster. I'm always kind of recorded with Dr. Parham, the trained psychologist. Mm-hmm. But in spaces where, again, people are living weapons, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're about to go compete. And they might lose a match, and that one sentence you said to them really breathed life into people sometimes, where like they really be down on themselves and not realize like, no, I still view you as a hero, just in the sense that like you competed and never did. Yeah. Like, that right there alone should mean a lot.
I don't think anybody's ever gotten to combat athletics and won every fight they ever had, right?
Right.
So everybody, there's ups and downs. It's like any other journey you take on in life that's new and different and scary. I mean, you're going to have, you know, great moments and bad moments. You're going to have successes and failures. And in the fight game, you need that. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose. If you enter, I don't think anybody's ever gone undefeated.
That's fair.
So, you're going to lose at times. You're going to get beat. And those people, that community and team you have, is going to support you and remind you of everything you do well and help you learn from the mistakes that led to you failing. So,
you know what else too though? I had to understand my why. I think my why for joining it was the idea that, one, I am a black dude. I can get Khalif Browder at any point in time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if that happened to me, I would want to know if I'm going to be put into an environment where I would need to defend myself that I can.
Yeah, I mean, it'd certainly make you feel more confident in that situation. And it, you know, furthermore, when stuff like that happens, a lot of it just comes back to instincts, right? So by training this stuff, it's instincts, man. So like when that scary moment happens where you might need to actually use this stuff in an unsanctioned environment, you know, it's much more likely you're going to fall back on the instincts you've learned and practiced rather than just panic and do something stupid.
Right.
That just speaks to the power of training and practice in all things, man. I mean, like, you know, I play in a music band.
Yep.
I mean, early shows I played, I was nervous in hell and just like forgot, like you could like forget what you're doing. But, you know, if you really practice the songs you're going to perform and you really know them well, even if you get up there and you have a moment where you get real nervous, you know, it's much more likely you're going to fall back on the instincts you a lot of times this instinct takes over because you practiced it so many times.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of the same thing here. You know, if you're training Muay Thai, you're training Jiu-Jitsu, you're practicing that stuff, you know, when that moment happens, you're going to be prepared because you practice it and train for it, and you're not going to, you know, just not know what to do. Your body's going to take over, and instincts will take over. Ooh, I just thought of another random ass point to bring into here.
Before you even no, go into that point, man.
All right, I'll make it quick.
You don't have to.
I just saw something about that, like, I forget what I was watching, where the dude, the Captain Sully guy was on it. The guy that, the pilot that was on that plane.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was there as like a trainer. He wasn't even supposed to be the pilot. But that man's been training, and he's done all these emergency scenarios his entire life in training. Right. Never had to put one in application. Now all of a sudden he's sitting on a plane as a shadow. He's not even the pilot. And they go up and they hit a flock of geese and lose all engines, right?
Right.
And the pilot, the actual pilot, didn't know what to do. And this dude just was like, get out of the way. And within 30 seconds, he made all those decisions that could have went horribly wrong in the wrong hands. He made all these emergency maneuver decisions and safely landed the plane and saved 155 lives.
Right.
And when he was interviewed afterwards, and I haven't even seen the movie, but I did see like an interview with him after. I know they made a movie with Tom Hanks and shit, but
yeah.
He basically said, he was like, it was instinct. He was like, I like, people were like, what, you know, what were you thinking in that moment? He was like, I wasn't thinking in that moment.
Right. How about that? You know what's interesting about that? Just that I remember I hurt my shoulder, right? I hurt my shoulder and I couldn't train with the regular team, but I was trying to prepare for sparring, and they have like sparring 101, and I was getting upset with one of the coaches there. And I kind of took an attitude out with him. He was like a younger guy. He's like at the time, maybe 19, 20. At the time, I was 42. And so when I hurt my shoulder, I was already feeling bad for actually talking to his coach the way I was. So I saw he was doing one-on-one lessons. So one of the ways to make amends was to, like, one, pay him for his one-on-one lessons and actually develop a relationship, get closer to one of the guys I train with. So we start training, and then I hurt my shoulder maybe like 3 months into this, right? So he was breaking down to me before, like he apologized for me. He was just like, we don't hit pads very much. I'm sorry, we don't hit pads very much. And I was like, no, I just trust you, bro, because we're developing a relationship now. You know, he's actually my homie now. And he starts letting me know you should shadow box all these one-on-one routines, get that into your system. And then I started shadow boxing, and I post my shadow boxing segments on social media. And then my coach, I had went in, and I was just like, this came to visit while I was hurt. And I was like, I'm hoping shadow boxing like helps me when I come back so I can spar again. He just stopped, and he was just like, no, all the stuff that you love to do, like you love to shadow box, I can see that because you do it every day. He was like, it will. it will.
Yeah.
Like, it will help you.
100%.
So not only was I able to make an amazing relationship, a bond with one of the guys who I look up to, a younger guy who I look up to. I learned I can learn from younger people. And then two, I had learned the power of just of shadow boxing and training to let those things take over. So when I finally went back to spar after this injury, I actually got better in the process. Yeah. And another gentleman, I didn't have the same kind of gas that I would had I been training on a regular basis. But the guy I trained with is one of the hard sparrers. He was just like, yo, bro, like you can fight. That meant everything to me. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a long story too, but it's the idea of just one, kindness, two, having the ability to train on a regular basis to the point where like instincts take over, you know.
100%. Yeah, you might not be able to do the thing, but you were still practicing it, right? You were still practicing the movements. So when you got out there and started doing the real thing again, you know, those movements and practice, and that was all ingrained in you a little bit more than it was before. So yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah,
but that's why I actually left at that point in time. I was like, all right, with jiu-jitsu, when I start doing jiu-jitsu, I'm going back to North Star. But I know that with Muay Thai, for the most part, I'm at a point now where I can learn new techniques, shadow box them at home, and get that ingrained in my system, and still maintain that martial art.
Yeah.
With jiu-jitsu, I know that you can't do that alone. You gotta train with a partner.
Yeah, I mean that's probably more true than in Muay Thai for sure. But there are ways you can practice jiu-jitsu by yourself.
Really?
I mean, I've been out of the game for a little bit, but I mean, you can still study. You know, you can. It's not like you can't advance yourself or advance your game or advance your knowledge just because you're not actively rolling with somebody else.
Right.
I mean, I remember back when I used to do it, the black belt I trained after would give us it was like going to school, man. You would like pages of moves and notes and sequences. Like if you're in this position, you want to get to this position, you got to do this, 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 and this.
Damn.
So there's a lot of knowledge to it, right? So like, you know, you can get better at it. You know, even if you have an injury and you're out for a month, that doesn't mean you can't improve. You can study, you can learn, so that when you get back in there, you know, you're like, oh man, I studied this one sequence of maneuvers, and like now I'm going to go implement it.
Right.
It's just enhances you got to just dial back to the planning phase, enhance your planning phase. But yeah, I think there's certain, you can't simulate on your own a full jiu-jitsu fight or match, but certainly can continue to develop your skills and knowledge.
All right, let's get the notes. When I go back, I can probably jump off at some point in time because right now, my main thing, I don't want to be doing too much right now because my main thing right now is all about just financial literacy. Everything is getting so expensive. Yeah. And I find the need to move different. And also as a broker, it's imperative that not only do I practice what I preach, but I also teach others. I mean, what I'm doing. So I kind of had to jump off of when I learned that I can train at home. I had to kind of like, all right, I can dial this back. And when I get more financially stable to take on more, then I'll go back. But right now I can jump off of it and still be a martial artist.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just blow dry you, and then I'm gonna start trimming your hair on that one side.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were. We've been having such a good conversation.
I know, man.
I forgot you were cutting my hair.
Let me see what they say. Did they give us a? Oh, they said we got a violation. We ain't violate nothing.
But I got a violation?
I don't know. I think when you mention Agent Orange by name, they violate you.
Did I mention Agent Orange? I think I might have said the SH word.
I don't know. I don't think it's anything bad. Either way, it recorded anyway. It wasn't like they blocked us all the way. But what I plan on doing, that's amazing.
Is it off now?
No, it's still going, which is great.
So I can't curse still?
No, you can curse.
Oh dang! Oh dang it the heck, Paul!
No, I haven't figured it out why they give you violations yet. I'm still new to TikTok, but I enjoy it.
I think I caught myself saying the S word once. I don't know.
No, they don't. I think because it got purchased. Look, again, I tell people all the time, I don't live in America, I live in Philadelphia. Therefore, I don't even watch the media on a local level. Therefore, I don't watch the media on I don't watch the media on popular media anyway. So, but I say to say, I do know that the platform was purchased by America, and that because it's been purchased by America, there are different ways of going about things.
I made fun of Pete Hegseth and Trump.
They're listening. There's another one. Did it pop up?
Pete's in there like, nah.
Yeah.
I run the Department of War. Used to be defense, but now it's war because I'm sad inside.
I'm going to trim this part, so you got to keep your head still for this part.
Yeah.
Don't be moving. You can talk, but don't be moving.
I can't talk without moving, man. I'm Italian.
You are Italian, aren't you?
Half.
That's amazing.
I mean, I'm an American. Let's be real.
No, but I think
I'm a dude that was born in America. From half of my genealogy was Italian immigrants. Sure.
But I think it's really important to know. Like, how about this? When I lived in Canada, it was the first time when I ever recognized I was robbed. In a sense that in Canada, they identify you by culture, right? So they asked me, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from America. And they were like, no, where are you from, though?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm from America. And they was like, they were confused. So I was like, oh, you don't know the story. I was like, my ancestors were taken, and I don't know exactly where I come from on the continent. It was like, they robbed you of your culture. Yeah. And I was like, damn, that's when it first dawned on me that I don't have that. Yeah. So at that point in time, I was kind of more or less trying to learn that. But the reason why I say it's amazing when you know your culture or where you come from, I think is you recognize the open-mindedness of you, Mark, is to recognize that you were also an other. And I think a lot of people, a lot of people in America, if they're European Americans, they don't operate like that. It's like, no, you are an other, and you need to operate like an other, because you don't see the otherness in others. You see otherness in yourself. And I think that connects you to the human family better, which makes you more open-minded.
That's a really good point, Paul. It is. Because, I mean, I have the awareness that real Italians over in Italy hate Italian Americans and think we're all a bunch of assholes. Oh, can't stop cursing. Sorry.
I don't think they care if you curse.
Violation.
They care if you mention. I don't know. Sometimes they'll say things on here. Yeah. We're talking about like combat athletics. I think if you mention like anything involving like hitting or something like that, they probably will flag you for it. And we're both like here and now, bro. We're both in the combat sports. Well, how about that? I didn't recognize that. If somebody came in causing trouble, we could.
Probably. I mean, I think I could still hold my own. I've been out of it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we were talking about instincts earlier. I think there'd still be some instincts in there that would take over for sure.
I know they would, because I almost got concussed over them instincts. But I will say,
fair enough.
I will say, I love combat athletics because it gives me the respect to basically not disrespect anybody, because you don't know who knows this, who's a weapon, who isn't. And you can assume that most aren't. You know what I'm saying? But that's not true.
Yeah.
So I think, because it's almost like having to respect somebody with a gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not operate like that with everybody?
I mean, realistically, you should. I mean, you don't know who you're messing with out in these streets. I mean, be prepared, be humble, treat everybody with respect. I mean, that's the way I try to go through life. You don't know who you're messing with. I live in Kensington, man. I can't just walk up on a street, walking around like I'm a king and bullying other people. And I don't know who's got a knife on them, got a gun on them. I don't know.
You don't know who's a boss out there.
I don't know what I'm messing with out there. So I'm just like, hello, thank you. I just try to be nice to everybody.
Right.
I've always found being nice to everybody is the best path.
Yeah, it keeps you safe. You know what's interesting?
Unless they violate you first, because...
Well, then
you cross me, I'll still knock you out. But
well, I think if someone treated you like that, then I think your reflexes take over.
Yeah.
That's the idea of the training.
I never want to be the cause of the issue starting. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be humble and treat everybody with respect. But some people act up and don't, they violate that, and then you got to act accordingly or fall back on your instincts or try to be diplomatic. But yeah.
You're going to do everything you possibly can to not use your. I think that's part of the training, though. I think what you just articulated is part of the training, which is why I want most folks to do combat athletics. Mm-hmm. Because it is understanding the last thing you want with people is war. So you use diplomacy in every capacity so you can avoid it.
I love
that. And I think that's how a fighter operates.
Should be. I love that you brought up the Sun Tzu Art of War, because I actually have read that. And that is, I mean... Best way to not lose a war is not get into one.
Yeah. Unlike what we're doing right now. I don't got to mention the names, but this posturing is like we're learning, or the rest of America is learning, you ain't that big and bad.
No. Especially when you don't have a plan,
There you go. The plan should be to always avoid war, to always be kind, to always figure out ways to grow with each other. Because that's what we should be doing as human beings. I think it's very self-destructive to operate in dominance.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But I will say this, because we're about to be done this live session anyway. Just the idea of being kind. There's two Pauls, or there were two Pauls at North Star, right? The other Paul was just the most feared guy. And I cut like 10 of those guys from North Star MMA where I trained. And a few of them were like, the guy Paul? I'm like, yeah. They were like, you'll never spar him. I'm like, why? They were like, if you spar Paul, he's going to hit you like he's really fighting you. So one day, we was in there training, and I saw what was happening in between rounds. And you got to find a new partner. Everyone is scrambling to get a partner so they don't get stuck with Paul.
Yeah.
So I finally found my partner, and I breathed like, oh God, I don't got spar Paul. And then Jackson was like, he saw who Paul's opponent was, a short guy. He was just like, you're not sparring Paul. Paul, you're sparring Paul. And I was just like, he gonna feed me to Paul. So Jackson feeds me to Paul. Now, Paul has cauliflower ear in both ears. He plays. But the first round, all fear went to the side. It was just like training kicks in, and then I'm present, and I'm seeing what he's doing. He hit me with a lot of lead kicks, but he starts lightly punching at my chest, staging his attacks. And then after the round, I just asked him, "Why did you do that? Why did you do what you were doing?" And what now I know is probing. He's probing, and so it went from being the most feared guy in the room to teaching me everything he possibly could in that segment. So once the round was over, all 3 rounds, there were 2 Pauls in the room. Excuse me. This got that scary. Nobody wanted to spar with me after that. And it was, you had a good time with Paul, huh?
There's 2 scary Pauls there?
I wouldn't say scary, but even the idea, because fear is what's the acronym for fear? It's false evidence of being real. Okay. But
it's more like Faber.
Yeah, isn't it?
I think you were close.
I think I was close.
Yeah.
But it's the idea you have fun with him, so I don't know how you will respond to me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But still, the idea that I was able to spar with somebody who was just that great and come out with more knowledge, just being kind and being curious like a child.
Well, you rarely learn by going up against people that are worse than you. You know what I mean?
Tell me about it.
That's why people that are humble tend to get better at things, because they're willing to learn from people and ask questions and get beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the mindset you have. That's growth mentality right there.
Yeah.
Is be willing to lose, be willing to not be the smartest guy in the room, to not be the best fighter in the room, and then learn the lessons from it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because what you just described is applicable all over the place, man. Like how this guy, you notice right away that he had a plan, he was setting you up, he was probing, and then boom, he was setting you up for later attacks. I mean, I'm in sales, man. It's kind of the same way when you meet somebody that's a high-level salesperson. They're operating their meetings in the same way. In fact, we call them probing questions.
Right.
So you go in with a plan and you're trying to lead them to a conclusion. A good salesperson doesn't show up and just say, "Oh my God, I got this new hair clippers. It's got the sharpest blades out there." And the guy's like, "I'm not even a barber, man."
Right.
So it's like, you got to go in. You're trying to achieve something. You want the person you're selling to arrive at a conclusion, and you're doing the same things, man. Like we talked about in jiu-jitsu, setting up attacks, or like you're talking about that right there, with setting up attacks through probing punches to the midsection, or like long leg kicks. Like it's the same thing that could probably apply across the board in many places in life.
Right.
To me, I'm thinking about it in sales because it's what I do day to day these days, but I do the same things in meetings. I ask probing questions. I'm finding out little bits of information. And then the next question I ask is geared because I'm trying to lead them at a conclusion. And then boom, I throw the haymaker close at the end, right? I knock them out and I get the deal. So it's like that applies across, we could probably take any art form or profession, and there's some probably semblance of that going on. So this open-mindedness you're speaking of, and this humbleness, growth mindset, I think it's applicable no matter what your passion is, what you're learning. But I think you can learn all those lessons in a very real way through combat sports.
But you know what? I think that was brilliant. And for folks being a fly on the wall for this conversation, that was a hell of a gem. That was. I think the idea that I have access to these amazing people. I've been doing these live sessions with my clients all day. Not all day. For a while, kind of bringing people into the shop and give them the opportunity to be a fly on the wall. And then what you realize is, like, not only do we have a brotherhood in the barbershop, but this information is priceless. Like I am an insurance broker, so that was priceless for me. So I know when I circle back and listen to this, that was gold. Right? Just the idea of how that does relate to sales, how it does relate to different life lessons all across the board. Just being humble and just knowing, essentially having a strategy, right? Knowing what the outcome you want, and like asking those direct questions, or
100%.
Getting as much information as you possibly can, and then using that. Get this part out of here. But I really appreciate you coming through, bro, as always. And I appreciate the fact that you're open-minded. Because if you weren't open-minded, you would never have came to the barbershop. You might ask me one of those stupid questions like, well, can you cut my texture of hair? I wouldn't give you the business card if I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or maybe I would if I was trying to experiment. That's messed up.
I mean, you're not wrong. You know. So,
Yeah.
but, you know, there's a reason you're the only person that's cut my hair in like 12 years now. 'Cause, you know, as soon as I met you, I knew you were a real dude and good at what you do, but also the man and great conversation and smart guy that's humble and growth oriented and yeah.
Yeah, I think brotherhood is a mirror. So it's the idea that real recognizes real. And I tell people all the time, especially in the barbershop, I only cut people who are soul nourishing. So if you don't in alignment in that capacity, this is the best way to make money to me.
Yeah.
I get this is priceless.
Yeah.
Right? You help me put food on the table, but these conversations are priceless.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, 100%. And you know, I drive an extra probably 30 minutes than I need to get my hair cut because I'm going to see my friend.
Right.
Have a conversation with my brother and not, you know, it's not just going in because I need a haircut. You know what I mean? I get a haircut down the street. I got a buddy that's a barber in Fishtown. He's good too.
Yeah, I love you.
Not
man.
as good as you. Not
He's all right. I saw his work. I'm playing.
He's not as good as you. But I could go 3 blocks and see him, but I drive here because you're my man.
Yeah, I love you, dude. Rick, seriously. Yeah. And I think that the fact that this brotherhood exists, it is the idea that I learned to cut hair in Toronto, but I have a piece of Toronto and Philadelphia here. Yep, I love you, baby. That's my daughter, guys, so you know. That's the only reason why I joined Muay Thai. Just keep it a beat. I gotta protect my family if I need to.
Sure.
But you expose that again. Yeah, just the idea that I have a piece of Philadelphia and Toronto in this small shop is what I really appreciate the most. I think that's a wrap. I think I can end this session, man.
I think we tied it up.
I think we tied it up.
I think we wrapped it up.
I think so too.
Oh, you're not. Oh, I appreciate you leaving now because you know, I thought you were gonna put. You know when you trim my nose and you make fun of me. I thought you were gonna make all the people see that. Let's cut it now. Cut it now.
It worked. It worked. You did.